Okay, without further ado, I would like to introduce our young candidate, Mr. Eugene Yeo, to address you. Mr. Yeo, please.
Good evening, residents of Sembawang. People over on that side, if you can, move a little bit towards the center so I can see you. Thank you. Can somebody tell me what is written on that board over there? I'm trying to see, but I can't from here. Thank you, thank you. Very, very innovative. Fellow Singaporeans, a very good evening to you. I'm Eugene, candidate for Sembawang GRC for General Election 2015. It has been a privilege for my team and I to be able to stand here to contest and to serve. And we remain committed to be here for you and to protect the interests of every resident in Sembawang, as well as all Singaporeans. So for the past few weeks, my team and I from NSP had done our best to cover as many places as possible. And we do receive a lot of feedback from residents. Thank you very much. So keep the feedbacks coming and let us work together towards shaping a better Singapore. As one united people. Today my friend in Punggol was late for work for an hour. He had to endure a very, very packed train station. Multiple changes from buses to train, back to buses. Just because our train system is down again. Which is slowly becoming a norm for Singaporeans, isn't it? So just a few months back, the North, South, East, West line are all down altogether. A little bit of chaos. So let us not include the short delays that happen every now and then. Now let's backtrack 5 years back. Since the last GE, last general election, 2011, the train reliability, do you think they have improved? Do you think they have improved, Singaporeans? No, you're right. The train reliability has not improved to an acceptable level for Singaporeans and commuters, although it is still the preferred choice for Singaporeans as a mode of transport. There's a reason why. Because SMRT is privatized as a listed company. And they have two main objectives. They are in conflict with each other. Number one, the first objective is to maximize shareholders' profit at all costs, at the expense of Singaporeans. And number two, they have to provide the best, or rather they have to try to provide the best transport system and service to the public. Now you see, in order to provide the best and the most reliable service to Singaporeans, you need to make necessary spendings on maintenance, on new trains, and periodic changes to the hardware and the software. But that would also mean lower shareholder profits. So, whenever there's a breakdown, a government imposed hefty fines to SMRT. But do you know that these hefty fines is indirectly being imposed on Singaporeans, like me, like you, like everyone? And they merely just give SMRT or to give them a reason to increase their price, even though with the oil price going across the globe, going down to an all-time low a few months ago. That is unacceptable and is beyond our comprehension. It do not equate, and the sums do not tally. So the NSP believes that transportation belongs to a need of all Singaporeans, just like housing is a need. And that our transportation service should be nationalized and not privatized to enable the government to focus on and to fulfill their social obligation and responsibility to provide a reliable system for Singaporeans. Town council service is a public service. Just like the lights you see along the roads and the maintenance of our roads. So if a particular constituency falls into an opposition ward, do you switch off the lights along those roads? Or do you think the opposition ward need to build a new power plant to supply electricity to the opposition wards? The answer is no. So if that's the case, why should the residents face disruptions to these public services while the town council operations are being handed over between the two parties? Now, PAP claim that the people of Singapore should progress together. Am I right? PAP claim the people of Singapore should progress together. Yes. But take a look around the opposition wards, particularly in wards in Hougang and even in Potong Pasir. They are lagging behind in upgradings and facilities building. And upgrading service should be across the board, across all Singapore, across all wards, regardless of whether you are a PAP ward or an opposition ward. Agree? Thank you. Thank you. The statement from the ruling party to suggest that PAP was having the entitlement and rights to upgradings first is therefore flawed. It is wrong. And this suggestion is deemed to be below par, unbecoming of a government which claim that they are doing all their best for its people. So every Singaporean, regardless of whichever constituency you are in, should be treated evenly. So our proposal is to have a centralized town council, services that cater and provide equal town council services and upgradings to every constituency and its citizen. And this should be managed by HDB and MND, not by the MPs. So that national resources are shared and optimized for the good of all Singaporeans. An example is SP Services, which caters to every estate in Singapore, regardless of whether you're a PAP ward or an opposition ward. So this is how we, as Singaporeans, can progress together as a nation. After all, these are taxpayers' money that the government is using. And the young adults in the opposition wards needs to serve NS. They need to pay taxes. Can they pay lesser taxes just because this is not fulfilled? Can they don't serve NS at all? They can't. I've spoken this during my last few speeches in Macpherson, in Tampines, that Woodlands should be Woodlands. Sembawang should be Sembawang. And we cannot have Serangoon being part of Marine Parade. They are 15 kilometers away, for God's sake. So, electoral boundaries should be drawn in a way that residents can associate with their geographical position and location. It should be permanent, so as not to create confusion on the ground. Drawing part of Yishun and part of Woodlands into Sembawang GRC adds to unnecessary and additional cost. And this cost will be paid using whose money? Our money, not theirs. Now, Singaporeans that we have spoken to are concerned about the 6.9 million population white paper, the policy, the influx of foreign talents. I mean, how can we not be concerned? It's like a fish tank. You have 20 fishes, it's supposed to house 20 fishes. You have 30 fishes now. What will happen to the fishes? The fishes will die, eventually. Overcrowding. To help you to understand a little bit better on overcrowding and the effects of it, try drinking water 24 hours a day and hold your bladder, don't go to the toilet. You'll be very bloated. So this policy has been hurting Singaporeans, and the floodgates have been opened for foreign talents to come into Singapore in masses at cheaper costs, displacing Singaporeans of their livelihood. So it is a domino effect. It starts from the top because of a new policy that's been implemented. It spirals down, impacting us in a magnitude that we could never ever have imagined. Now, NSP is not against foreign talent. In fact, we understand that in order for the country to grow, we need them. However, this has to be done at a pace that our infrastructure can withstand, and at a sustainable level gradually. We should also not promote the idea to Singaporeans that foreign talents are far more capable and far more superior than us. Singapore has one of the best universities and education system in the world. We boast of it. And we should be proud to be Singaporeans. The average Singaporean today spend 15 years of our life and a lot of our parents' hard-earned money to get a good education. And the Singaporeans of today that I have met and I know personally, they are capable people. They are as bright, as hardworking, as equally resourceful, and we are comparable in terms of intelligence and quality, as well as efficiency, as compared to our foreign talents that we have today in our midst. So Singapore should put Singaporeans as a priority, and Singaporeans' needs should be addressed and taken care of first instead of foreigners. We should be given priority over jobs. And for the record, we welcome foreigners into Singapore. But the concept of placing the interests of Singaporeans as top priority should be embraced by the very people who claims to be doing it everything right for the benefits of every Singaporean. And that's our ruling party. They must do better. And they must change their mindset. We are also of the idea that being an MP should be a full-time job, so that the respective MPs can serve the residents' needs and concerns wholeheartedly and at all times. Issues that affect the resident, such as jobs, housing, healthcare, retirement, can be addressed faster and more efficiently. Sembawang GRC candidates will all be full-time MPs, if ever elected. That's our promise to you. We will not hold 64 positions out there. That's another promise. Now, the ruling party can choose to refuse to hear our cries, and they can choose to close their minds to the hardship that a lot of Singaporeans are facing now, along with sufferings that they have not touched them on a personal capacity. They can refuse to listen, and they can refuse to act. But I assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that when we are going to achieve together, and what we are going to achieve together here today during this general election 2015, and if we succeed, we'll benefit many generations to come. And I promise you, I will not ever ask you to go to JB when you're old. We can go there for nice food, not to retire. Now, the NSP team contesting in Sembawang GRC for this general election 2015 will choose to step up, take responsibility, accept criticism, improve ourselves, and do better. And we will choose to raise our voice on behalf of those without one, because we know that it will not only be our families and friends that will be proud of us or what we are doing here, but also every other Singaporeans whose lives are touched, that we have helped change. Everyone in Singapore knows what is going to happen. They know what will happen if we continue to still sit around and wait for things to happen. It's already been 50 years. There are now many Singaporeans among us who are suffering in silence because of bad policies. And there are those who chose to share their stories with us as we walk the ground. My team and I are extremely humbled by their life stories that they have shared with us. And we understand the hardship that they have faced. We hear the screams and the cries for help. And we want to help them. So these are the very voices of the people whom you have been serving, and they are crying out to you. So to the Singapore government, do you hear them? Do you hear them, Singapore government? Or do you even care? I heard something, they don't care. We are quite close to that. Or is profit at all costs still the order of the day? With that, fellow Singaporeans and citizens of Singapore, residents of Sembawang, let us embrace change and work together to shape the future that we want for Singapore. Give us your vote today. Give us your vote today. Thank you. That is quite pretty assuring. Give us your vote today. Let's vote for a better Singapore. Let's vote for change. Let's vote for NSP. And know that Singaporeans deserve better. Thank you. One last thing. In closing, before you return home later and go to bed, I'm going to share a quote from J.K. Rowling, author of Harry Potter. She's a good woman. I'm going to share it with you. Think about it, what I've said. As is a tale, and so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is. That's what truly matters. Thank you.